All right. Hey, guys. Welcome back to the Raised Hunting Podcast. And I had someone say the other day that maybe the funnest part of the podcast was the first 5 minutes. Appreciate that. I'll take credit.
It's because you're the only one that talks in the first 5 minutes.
I know, but so maybe I should just talk the whole time. No, I'm just kidding. I am David Holder with Raised Hunting, and I'm joined here by, I'm honestly, really, truly, and joined by both Warren and Easton. However, Easton is not here. Warren is chasing a fly around in the podcast booth that's gotten in. So anyhow, long story short is, there's Easton now.
Now we have one special guest.
So we are going to continue our series. This is part 2 of, I think it's going to end up being a 4 or 5 part series about turkeys, about specifically, hopefully, we've gotten lots of feedback of guys saying, hey, the podcast is helping me tremendously. I'm learning stuff as I drive down the road. So we've been building YouTube videos about the same stuff, but we understand that a lot of you guys can't do that, can't get there and watch it, so you can listen to it. So this is the part 2. Part 2 is going to be, what do you need? I mean, if you guys missed part 1, go back and listen to that, because we're talking a little bit about how do you find them? What are some of the nuances on how to find turkeys, because sometimes it can be a little tough. Don't drive around at night. You won't see them like you would white-tailed deer. There's no need to spotlight them.
Why would you be spotlighting a deer?
I'm just saying with headlights. Comment. Well, the other one, okay, so just go get a thermal and see where they're all sitting in the trees.
Hey, now. That's a secret.
So, all right. But anyhow, so with that, we'll get started in just a second. We've got to do a little housekeeping. Warren, what's up?
YouTuber. Well, first off, if you like the podcast, then please leave us a review and share it with a friend.
That would be wonderful.
But we'll
really
go to
appreciate you.
the YouTubers first. Jeremy Rupsick. He says, as far as shows are concerned, I'm hoping you guys hit the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, always in February.
Next year, maybe.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Warren,
maybe for half.
Warren actually brought it up that he wanted to go and stay the whole time.
No,
Yeah.
I'm out. No way. Sorry on that one, especially because that one's like
70
10
days.
Hold on. If someone told you that if you came and worked, now you guys got it. People who don't know, the Great Outdoor Show is basically the show in Harrisburg, and it's 9 days long. So really and truly, to go do it, it's like 13 days, because it takes a day to set up, day to tear down, all that stuff. So, but if someone told you, I've got a line on an 80-inch shed.
That would be 11 days.
I know, but a day to drive there and a day back, okay? Stop interrupting me.
Just saying.
Okay? If someone told you I've got a line on an 80-inch shed, there's like a 90% chance we can find one, but you got to come to the show and work it.
I need more than that.
Yeah, I don't think that I would.
I don't think so.
I do. I need one. I need to know this source, and I need to check their sources. And then 3, we have to have a discussion already that I get to keep the antler. I don't really want one that somebody puts me on though either. So I'm definitely still out.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, no. And then that's brutal.
It's a long show.
I mean, the best part about that show was the mornings during the week. You remember playing bags and stuff with other people around?
I don't remember. Well, I've worked it a lot, so it's hard for me to remember.
No
I went there with
for
Primos. What?
There's no way it's as big as it used to be.
Oh, it's still over 1 million people walk through there.
I would maybe fly in for a day or something.
On Wednesday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, a Greyhound bus pulls up, starts dropping people off. You know that you got a lot of people.
Yeah, that'll do it, I guess.
It didn't. You didn't go the year we went, did you?
I've never been to that show. I've always been scared.
In my opinion, it did not live up
The other one, and maybe we'll get some people that will tell us. I heard a number. I don't know if that's correct. It seems like a lot. I know the NWTF is big in Nashville, but someone said that 750,000 people walk through that in a weekend. That is nuts.
How many is the Great American Outdoor Show?
Well, it used to be right at 1 million, but that's scattered over the 9 days.
And how long is an NWTF?
Only like 3 or 4. I think it starts on Thursday.
Is normal.
That would be crazy. That show does seem big.
Yes, it seems legit. We have not done that one, so maybe you'll see us head that way at some point.
I'm gonna find myself a doppelganger and let him go and do it.
What is a doppelganger?
They look
basically
just
your
like
twin.
you.
Oh yeah,
it's like a stunt man, you know. It's
You
like
have
The Rock
multiple.
has.
You have Kenny Chesney and
Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van
Jean-Claude will
Damme.
be there at the booth signing turkey autographs like I had to do for him in Memphis, Missouri.
After your crossbow podcast, there's a lot of people that hate Kenny Chesney now.
Imagine people at a Kenny Chesney concert with signs. Screw you.
For anybody listening, we'll get into this topic. Sorry, we're BSing here, but funny story. We did a crossbow podcast like a year ago, something like that, or maybe longer. And Dad was making some comments about the crossbows and stuff. And when we posted on social media, the comments were filled with, I used to like Kenny Chesney, but not anymore.
So weird, because then it was like the next week that Barnett sent me a DM on Instagram saying, hey, we're looking for ambassadors. You want to work with us? I'm like, do you guys pay any attention to what we post? Heck no.
That's funny.
Anyways.
Sorry, guys, if you're listening.
Jeremy also
Nothing against
said,
your company.
Just so you know, just to refresh everyone, I'm not against crossbows. I'm just against crossbows being used during a bow season.
From people who are not.
don't need it.
Iowa is notorious for having people that go to the doctor and their finger hurts, so they get a crossbow. Anyways.
Jeremy also said, looking forward to turkey season. Since my brothers and I are heading to southeast Montana from Miriam's in the end of April.
Fun.
How about a Grand Slam turkey fan display that holds 4 fans? I will say Montana is a sleeper state on turkeys. Actually, I think all those western states are. I think the only one people know about is Nebraska. It seems like.
I mean, people know that they're out there. I don't know that they know how good the turkey hunting can be. I mean, it's.
Well, the thing that's so nice about out there is you don't need that many. You just need to get in calling distance and give them a few calls a lot of times, and here they come. Eric Robards said, great podcast, guys. As a newish turkey hunter, this was great info to have, and we'll definitely put it all to great use. At first, I thought that said, great podcast, guys. As a Jewish turkey hunter, I was like, what does that have to do with anything? Okay. Iowa Racks and Birds. Great podcast. Got to talk to Easton Joey at the Deer Classic. None of the family was at the Race K9 booth, possibly going to the Illinois Deer Classic. Huh, that's weird. I don't know where Mom was off her shift, I guess. Chase Knowles, 8726. He said, killer podcast. Can't wait to chase Thunder Chickens with a recurve this year.
Oh, boy.
I did
He
that.
was talking to me about that.
It did not go well.
I saw Chase at the Iowa Deer Classic.
He came and shot.
I saw him too. He
shout
said,
out
good
to
seeing you
Chase.
guys at the Classic and giving Warren some crap about the elusive 80-incher. Yep, I'm used to that. Nurse Mike IN, this may be my fave intro. Fired Up David is the best. Glad I'm not that trash man.
I don't remember what our intro
don't either.
was, but that sounds interesting.
Oh, I was pissed at the trash guy that didn't take my trash.
Yeah. Jake
Yeah, well,
Rotman.
just so you know, that son of a got it all this time.
Now he's not going to help you. Just call him an SOB.
Well, I don't care.
Jake Rotman, 7803, said number 2 again. See if you can be number 1 this week. And then Denver Algo, with turkey season coming, what's your advice for ticks and what do you use for repellent?
Oh, that's easy.
And there's ones on Apple, and so I will hit you guys next week. Much love. Appreciate you guys too. But I don't want to take too long.
I don't know what that guy's question was or name was, but we use permethrin.
Yeah, particularly the brand that we're buying now is Sawyer's. It comes in a yellow can. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at your local sporting goods shops, but it has permethrin in it. Permethrin is what it's called, and it doesn't repel ticks. It kills them. So when they come in contact with it, then and you treat your clothes, you're not supposed to spray your body. Don't spray it on you. I have, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to die sooner than I was going to before. But I would rather not itch and die sooner than itch.
The other thing is, the instructions tell you to. Like, you can spray it, and they're good for, 2 or 3 washes. I don't think that is true. We spray ours just about every time we get out of the truck. Yeah. But it works great. We do not have anything on us when we do use it. But we also spray it literally every time.
It works on chiggers as well, but you got to make sure that you're up to date. Don't let it wear off.
Yep. All right, I got a story for us today. This one is a very good one.
I have one more real quick.
Oh.
Because I'm going to give Cody Stewhog a shout-out because he just found an 80 and an 85.
Wow.
Didn't know the deer was there, just randomly found an 80 and then...
Oh, it was a match?
Well, he put in... so he sent me a picture of it, and let's see what he said. He said, I found this huge 80, and then he's like, I said, you better go find the other side. He says, I'm 6 miles in there this morning and nothing. I'm so stressed out. And then next picture I got, he found the other side.
Nice.
It's 500 yards apart. So congrats to him.
6 miles.
I mean, they're stupid, huh?
Oh boy, those look bigger than 80.
Mass.
Oh, yeah. That could be mistaken for a mini moose.
That's a big shed. 2 big sheds.
All right, so story for the day. We ran
whoever
pretty low.
Whoever wrote this story, this is what we're talking about. One
If
paragraph.
anybody is watching this makes Easton's life so much easier. But we are running low on our hunting stories. But this one, if you guys have anything like this, we'd love to hear it. This one is from William Ayers. I believe that is William Ayers, SPT14 or whatever you call it.
I think you nailed it.
I just heard it so many times. He said, Easton, just wanted to give you guys a big shout out on the raised canine products. My son and I have been using the canine flavin and the repairing mud on our German Shorthair and our Beagle. We've been having great results. The canine flavin is a game changer. Our German Shorthair would always get a limp in his one front leg after any hunt. Since we have been using the canine flavin, he has not had another limp. It has also been great for our 6-year-old Beagle. His recovery time is a lot faster now, thanks to these products. Attached are a few pictures. Thank you, guys. Thank you, William. That
I thought I got
totally ruining the moment of what a good story this was.
I appreciate William.
It's a very good story. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for your report on what you're using. So if you guys don't know what he's talking about, canine flavin or our wellness drops on our website, as well as the repairing mud. Repairing mud is great for your dog gets cut. They're outside, whether they're a hunting dog or not. They have some form of scratch, injury, things like that. You can put the repairing mud on there. It's all natural. It'll help them recover extremely quickly, and a lot of times keep them from having a scar, which is great. And then the wellness drops are good for what he's using them for, and this is what Dad uses his for Dan as well, is when your dogs are out working a lot and stuff and they come back in the next day, they're super stiff. They don't want to get up the next morning. We have the cure for you, and that is the wellness drop. It's freaking awesome.
It's Dan's new best friend. However, we do have, it's not a shout out but Luke Peterson, someone might have seen, we did a post the other day that he had his kennel burned down. He lives in North Dakota, killed several of his dogs and a couple client dogs. Anyhow, he's a trainer. He's trying to get things back up and running. So if you guys haven't seen the post, there's a what do they call that? A GoFundMe account set up for him to see because he lost everything. I mean, dogs, all the working gear, his hunting gear, everything. So anyhow, we've met with Luke, and he's got a new puppy now that he is training, and he just sent me a video this morning. He's giving the puppy canine flavin and did it one morning, did it the next morning without it, and you can see
drops.
Yeah, you can see this little puppy's total different demeanor. It is unbelievable. So anyhow, it can be used for training and mental focus and clarity for the dogs as well. So, all right,
we'll make sure too that we'll put the GoFundMe link in here if anybody wants to help Luke out. I think that's pretty tough deal. It wasn't just his dogs either. It was all of his equipment, everything. And I think from what I understand is like he was on his way home. His buddy asked him if he needed wanted him to go check on the dogs, and he was like within 2 hours of home or something.
Yep.
Like, no worries. I think I can get it. And in that time frame that happened. So terrible deal there.
Don't forget too, if you guys are listening on here, you get a special discount. I don't remember what it is, but it's in the comments. So anybody for listening to our podcast
on any of the canine products and stuff
anything
like that.
on the website.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, not the GoFundMe.
Yeah, you don't get a discount on that. You just got to be a good person.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to continue on with our turkey series, and we're going to talk a little bit about what you need. And I got a feeling we are all not going to agree on this one as usual, but we shall see. So
it's episode 2.
Yep, I already said it's episode 2. Episode
last
1
week
was
we discussed, if you haven't listened yet, last week was discussing how to find birds and doing your scouting beforehand, and the conclusion was it is very important to do so. So if you haven't listened to that, you're just getting into the second episode. Hop back one, and you will find yourself how to find birds if you don't know where they're at and what to do.
I'm not going to believe that.
Yeah, you're putting it out to the camera when your mic's right here.
Okay, so here, this is me scouting this morning.
This is creepy.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Found them.
Okay, get into it.
All right. You need a fryer.
I only need a fryer when I'm.
You guys are the most
duck
distracted
hunting.
people I think I've ever seen.
I hate flies. I hate them I hate them almost as bad as a trash man that won't pick up the trash.
Okay, so what's one thing we agree? Everybody agrees you have to have turkey hunting aside from a weapon.
Well, I think you start with the obvious, and that is if you're not hunting out of a blind, you need to be in head-to-toe camouflage.
Yeah.
And
This is a thought process of preparing the night before, so that's where we're getting our.
Okay, so let's go over 2 ways. One, I'm an amateur. I could have sworn we covered most of this last week, but maybe not. Okay, one, I'm an amateur turkey hunter, and I'm going to go with a bow. The other one's I'm an amateur turkey hunter, and I'm going with a shotgun. So let's do archery first, since that's kind of our thing. What am I laying out for the next day?
Not specific yet, but you obviously need your bow. We should discuss a little bit about the different styles of broadheads that we use, because that is a big thing. I'm going to have a blind laid out. I'm going to have whatever my decoy setup is laid out, and then I'm going to probably have a few different calls that I'm comfortable using and hopefully been practicing with. You're going to need a chair for your blind, and then some stakes and stuff like that. But that is probably, and then a pack most likely, or a vest depending on what you prefer. So that is probably your baseline for the things that you're going to need. Then you can get into what the things are that you are actually carrying, because you could have 10 different decoys, but you ain't going to freaking carry 10 different decoys. Or maybe you don't have a decoy yet, and you're going to go purchase some, so you want to make sure you buy the right ones.
Agreed.
So I need.
Hold on, because the one thing that he didn't mention is the clothing.
I was going to go to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So
And I think we need to get more granular, because I'm just trying to think, like, if
I
I'm
was just doing a baseline for what to start with, and then we can go into.
like I'm making my checklist on my phone or whatever. What is it that I need?
I agree with you. Well, first of all, you need a bow and you need a weapon. You need a weapon and load it. You got to have an arrow and the right broadhead. And maybe we'll talk about broadheads specifically here in a minute. One note: none of us change anything on our setup. We're shooting the same setup that we shoot deer at turkeys or at elk,
Except for him.
Well, yeah, he did change a
Okay,
little
so
bit.
that's
When
different,
if you're going to try to head, excuse me, if you're going to try to head shoot turkeys with something like a
whopper chopper.
a whopper chopper or something like that, then you're going to have to change things. You're going to have to shoot a different arrow, provided your arrow does not clear the riser. That's up to you. But we don't. I personally have never changed anything.
Get
I shoot
into
the same setup.
your stuff, because Warren's going to have to explain that stuff. It's
So I wear all black from waist up. So I'm all black, long sleeve. I got black gloves. I got black face mask, even a dark hat. A lot of times it's not a black hat. And then I have.
Why are you wearing black though?
Because I want to blend into the dark, into the shade of the blind is creating a black darkness in there, and that's what you want to actually. That's your camo basically. As black becomes your camo for in the blind.
I can go get one.
What are you looking for? A pen?
Okay, well, we don't have to have it. I was just going to make a checklist.
Yeah, I was going to do it on my phone, and then we can post it in the comments.
Okay.
Post it in the thing so you guys could download a checklist too from what we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
the thing to think about with that, if you want to see what we're talking about, because you don't feel, and me and Warren are probably the biggest culprits to this, as far as feeling like, I do wear quite a bit of black in a blind, and then there's sometimes I get lazy, and I'm like, I'm not wearing a face mask, or I'm wearing a partially black hat or something, and I promise you, I've been burned on it. And it's a great way for you to visibly see this for yourself. Obviously, if you're doing it hunting alone, you're not going to be able to see it that well, but have your kid or your friend or your buddy, whoever who is hunting with you, put them in the blind with all black on and walk out of the blind and have them sit towards the back of the blind like you should be, and you are probably going to see their eyes, and that's about it. And then have them pull their face mask down and pull a hat off or something like that, and then you'll see the difference. It's crazy
face.
how much it really does conceal you. So that is a very, very big tip, and it's going to help you, especially as a new hunter, get away with some movement, because turkeys are known for extremely good eyesight.
So clothing we covered there. So then, and I agree with Easton. Actually, the 3 things that I say, if you want to be a successful bow hunter for turkeys, you need a blind, you need a decoy, and you need a call. Can you go do it without one of those things? You could do it without a decoy. You can do it without a blind. I've done both. I don't think I've ever killed a turkey other than in the fall without a call. I have to have something to get them to come to me. So, and then when it comes to calls, we're putting together some YouTube videos and things like
get
that.
a shot one time without a call. And that was on Bushy Beard.
Oh yeah, on Bushy Beard.
But that was an all day sit.
Yeah, that was not fun.
Specific
We're
turkey.
not going to go into that discussion. So anyhow, and then like Easton said, we'll get into maybe a couple different turkey scenarios. I mean, turkey decoy scenarios, and talk about why we pick the ones. But here's what I would tell. I'm going to just come out and say this because I feel like this is maybe the largest tip that you guys will or will not understand, and that is if you're one of those people out there and you don't have a blind and you don't have a decoy and you want a turkey hunt, go buy the very best. And the reason I'm going to tell you that, yes, you're going to spend more money up front, but in the long run, you're going to spend less money. I've hunted out of all kinds of blinds, and I've used the cheap versions, the $120, $150 blinds. I have yet to find one, and maybe I'm hunting out of them way too hard, setting them up more often or whatever. I leave them too long. I can't get one to make it from one year to the next. Where if I spend the money and buy a better blind, and I'm not pushing any particular one, but I can tell you the double bull blinds have worked best for me simply because I still have them. I've been packing them. I've had them since Montana.
Like 15 years old.
Yes, the camouflage is worn off almost on them, but the blind is still functional. I've never broken a rod or anything like that. So spend the money, get the right blind, and do the same on a decoy.
And if you do break something like that, they'll replace it.
They will replace it. Comes with a lifetime warranty on all the parts or any defects like that. So, and then the same thing on the decoys. There's a couple manufacturers that are making way better quality decoys as far as they look lifelike. They got glass eyes in them. You can add real tail feathers. That is a key to making your decoy look real. There's one other thing that I've added in the last 5 years that becomes huge, but we'll get there in a minute. But right there, and if there was only one decoy that you could afford, buy a strutting tom. After that, all the rest of them, I'm not saying I haven't used a hen by itself and it's worked. I'm not saying I haven't used a Jake and it's worked. But the strutting tom seems to work more often. And here's what we were trying to make sure we covered on the YouTube videos was where we discovered that was we mounted a turkey one. You guys were young when Mr. T was developed. Waylon and I have a buddy that's a taxidermist, and we mounted a turkey. The moment we started using that real turkey, we'd set him out. He was on a piece of plywood. It sucked packing him around. You had to carry him like this. We had to put an orange bag over him to carry him. Every time we set him out that we got a turkey within distance to see it, every turkey came to it. We never had one check up. And so that told me the realness of that turkey was what was making. We didn't get that lucky that just 13 out of 13 all happened to be that fired up. That wasn't the case. And every bird came to it. So the more realism you can get to your decoys, the better chance you have of killing them. So that's where my whole thing about the strutting tom came from, was they all came.
Do I need a hen?
I would have one, but again, it's not a necessity.
Absolute most necessary items. So that's what I'm trying to do here is make a list of, because the other thing I think you do need to keep in mind is, like, let's say that I'm a new turkey hunter. If I do go buy the best of the best, I'm talking over $1,000 just between blind and decoys.
But over 10 years, you spend $100 each year.
You also don't know if you're going to like it though or not.
Oh, you're going to like it. Trust me. When he comes in, boom, stands up on top of your decoy, and you shoot arrows all around him. And
I'm torn on the decoy one because I think, you may disagree with this one. If you are going to skimp on some money, I would do it on your decoy or on your hen decoys. I think that you can get a little bit away with a little bit more with the hen decoy, as in, like, we used to sell some of like the HS ones, and I'm not a fan of how they really look, but I use them, and they're like $25 or something. I mean, they're not foam pieces of crap or something. They're at least plastic.
I think all the decoys have gotten a little better.
Yeah, I mean, and I have never really had issues. Now, you will probably have an opinion on this. The decoy that I agree with you is you need a tom decoy, a strutting tom. And then outside of that, if you are wanting, I think you can get away with it. But I think that if I were to have to pick one other to go with it, we normally have 3 to give you guys a reference. We normally have a tom, a laying down hen that's strategically placed close to the tom to make it look like a breeding pair, and then we have a standing hen, whether she's feeding or head up. I would almost say that if you're going to buy one, get a lay down hen. But my tip for that is you get a decoy that is she's probably going to have to be a hen decoy that has her head up, not feeding, and just get a regular one, because then it's going to come with a stake, and you can stand it up if you want to, and you can lay it down. Sometimes you may have to prop it up with something so that it's laid down next to your tom decoy, but then you're getting the best of both worlds. The reason I'm clarifying that is because there's legitimately lay down hens that is flat on the bottom, and they just set on the ground. They're great, but at the same time, you don't need to necessarily spend your money on that if you could buy one that
use it that way.
You can lay it down, and you may just have to put a little pile of dirt next to it to make sure it doesn't tip over or something, and then also set it up like a regular hen decoy. I've done that a lot.
Yeah. So our absolute necessity list so far is all black clothing for this for an archer.
If you're hunting out of a blind.
Yep. Black face mask, black gloves, black shirt, blind, strutting tom decoy. The one thing I would say is, since you're wearing all black, does that mean that you can just move willy-nilly?
No.
They have incredible eyes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Unbelievable eyes. So you still got to be careful. So I feel like last year you were saying half strut Jake.
No, I use a half strut Jake.
I have a theory on this.
And I do too. I mean, so we're diving. The more we start dissecting this for the podcast, for the YouTube videos, the more I start to realize that there's still so much to learn. I've really gone back. We've spent several hours here in the last couple weeks looking at video footage of turkeys to look at their heads and looking particularly at their snoods and how that's telling you how they're reacting. Meaning whether the snoot is the long thing on top of their head that will point straight up. For those of you that can't see me, I got my finger it's like half-inch tall when they're worried or when they're just not doing anything. Yep. And then that will grow, and sometimes it'll get to be 4 or 5 inches long. If you see that,
that's when they're relaxed.
When they're relaxed and they're actually worked up, and then they change head color. They go from blue and red and white to more white, like a lighter blue, and then they also will get to a really like deep red, and it's a bad deal when they.
Let's not overload, because we have this in the next one. So what is your what were you going to say? Just about the Jake decoy, because it's about the snood.
I guess what I'm saying is that I still love a Jake decoy at the right time, but if I only had the money to buy one, it would be a strutting tom.
Okay. Because the other thing I'm wondering if we need to be thinking about here a little bit is the carrying all this. If you're going by yourself, it does get to be a pile.
Oh, I've got that for you.
Okay, so we got strutting tom decoy and blind. Then are we saying a specific blind, or just we're saying that we believe that you need, if you want to kill a turkey, we're not saying that.
Well, the other thing is
for the amateur, we're not saying it can't be done, but
No, I'm saying you need a blind.
Your chances, I would tell you.
If you have not turkey hunted before,
I'd say it's like 5% or less that you're going to manage to pull that off.
Without a blind.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say it's not like 50% better or 100%. It's like 500% better.
Unless you're somebody who's won the lottery already. If you're that person, then you do whatever you need to do. You'll get lucky. But
yeah, so we're just trying to explain to you guys how we do believe in order for you to be successful, these items are 100% necessary. Right. So we're going to say strutting tom decoy, and we're going to say you don't need a hen, because I think we're trying to go bare bones, the smallest budget that we can.
You could do it without
I'd say do it without a hen.
Okay,
if you got $50 at the end of the day, go get a hen.
Okay.
And the one clarification that you got to do it. I don't care whether you got to go to your taxidermist, call a buddy, call us. Maybe we even have an extra one laying around. You need a real tail feathers. You need a real fan on that turkey, because they all come with some form and they look good in the store. They don't look good to a turkey.
Okay. Yep. So we got that. Now you said that you need a call.
Yep.
What kind of call?
Oh boy, now we get into all kinds of controversy.
Disagreements.
Well, we talked about this one last week. I think it was pretty unanimous, actually.
You guys were on a glass slate call, and I don't think that's or
Just a
friction
slate
No,
call
just
in
a slate
general.
call in general.
Yeah, I was being specific as if you're a beginner, I think you should get a slate call, but you should make sure it is a legitimate slate call because it's because there's slate calls and there's glass slate calls. Your slate calls are much easier to learn, much easier to get different sounds out of, and you'll get to play with them a little bit more where you learn different styles and things like that. The glass ones are freaking awesome. It's my preferred, but it takes a little bit of time to really hone in on, number one, how to set them up because you got to do some prep work to them and how to start using them differently than a slate call.
I think my recommendation would be, hopefully, I don't know if you have enough time now. Maybe if you're an elk hunter or something, if you can, get a diaphragm. It's the cheapest. It's going to be the most versatile.
You normally get them in like multi-packs
buy a
too.
pack
Yeah,
of like
you're gonna-
3 of them. And
for
then,
like probably $20 or
Yeah.
maybe $30. Where a slate call, box call, anything else, you're going to spend
60, 70
yeah
probably for a
at
decent
least a
one.
decent one is going to cost you more than $20. And you can do the most with a slate call and sound or a diaphragm call. It's going to sound the most realistic. However, especially if you're just now picking up a diaphragm, the odds of you having it down by turkey season is not good. But I have heard some hens that sound like smokers, so you might be okay. So we're saying if you don't know how to be able to blow a diaphragm and you don't think that you can figure it out quick enough, slate call or some kind of friction call.
The one I hate, and Dad is intelligent, or Dad will say you need it too, is a box call. And I don't hate them because of the box call themselves. I hate them because of the amount of people that use them.
So we're saying bare necessities.
I think you need, well, to be honest, you don't think you really need more than one call.
I think you could live off the slate call. It's not necessarily what I'd want, but
The only thing you're going to run into, and that is a fair warning, is that you got a bird coming in or something like that, and that's going to be your tough part, where you're trying, maybe he's starting to slow up or something, and you're trying to coax him a little bit more, and you're also trying to hold your bow or something. That's where you'll have an issue. But as long as you're organized and you're blind, you should be able to set your bow next to you or something and just work easily and still do it.
So I think our unanimous opinion would be number one is a diaphragm.
If you can
figure
master
that
it,
out
that
and
is
have
the
that-
that's the best call. You're going to be able to make every turkey sound. And the big thing about diaphragm calls, mouth calls, is they allow you to put your emotion into the call. You can high, low, where a lot of the friction style calls, you can make it somewhat quieter, but you can only do so much because you still have to have a certain amount of friction. Where a diaphragm call, you can make it super soft, super loud. I can change the cadence. I can change the raspiness of it once I learn how to do all of that. You can, and much quicker can you go from a cut to a cluck to a yelp. To a purr. You can mimic all that stuff together the same way that a turkey does. So by far the diaphragm is superior, but it's superior because it takes that much effort to learn how to use it.
Yep.
So the slate is right there, real close. I mean, and it doesn't take quite as much, but it still takes some. One tip I would give you on your slate calls: work parts of the call up in different sections of the call and create multiple calls in one. And what I mean by that, hold on, I'm going to explain it, Easton. I mean, so
You're going to go way overboard.
okay, never mind. I've been cut off.
Well, because this is
a-
why it's a
right,
series,
okay,
because
yeah.
we're going to go into each of
I'm
those.
sorry.
We're going to try to do a better job, more thorough, by giving each
We're
one
trying
of
to-
those an episode.
Trying
Okay.
to keep David from getting down all his freaking
I like
rabbit
this
holes.
subject. Okay, go on.
Okay,
Trash
so
man pisses me off.
so
This
we
poor
have
trash man.
clothing, blind, decoy, call, and we already know the call, and our bow, obviously. Don't need a chair.
You're going to want a chair. You don't need to have it, but you're going to want it.
Agreed. There's one other thing, in my opinion, I would say you absolutely have to have.
A bow hanger or something?
Nope.
No, well, that's a good plus, but
Bow hanger would be helpful, and I would recommend. I mean, now if your money into decoys, do what you got to do, but you can get one for probably like $10, $15.
I use a bow stand.
But at end of the day, you could lean it against the blind if you needed to. I would say a pack.
you can have something to carry
'Cause it's
yourself.
especially if it's just you carrying all this stuff, is a freaking nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
We do. Is that still available?
We're supposed to
Our
be
pack?
getting our account set up so that we can be shipping it to guys like this week.
Oh, excellent. So is that going to be on our website too?
Well, I'm going to list it on our website.
Okay, sweet. So we're going to have a pack available, which we get hundreds of questions about every spring, that you can put the blind and everything into. And so what we usually do is the blind slides into the pack, and then it has straps on it. And so then we're usually strapping the decoys and our
chairs
and our pack to that pack.
Correct.
If that makes any sense. If not, we have a video on it, and we'll have another one. If you're a Western guy, you probably have a frame pack or something like that you might be able to use. But the problem with it is it's probably not going to be long enough to support your
It's the
blind.
exact same concept as a frame pack, just lighter weight and longer, designed for a blind.
Yeah, but the easiest way would be is if you can bring a friend, a kid, a wife,
A pack mule, basically.
somebody to carry your
They don't
decoys
need to do
and stuff,
anything.
then
They
it's-
don't need to shoot. They don't need to do anything. They just need to carry your stuff for you.
then it's much easier because now you have somebody to carry. It's not that it's all that heavy. It's just it just gets so bulky.
I wish I
Right,
knew how well we could bleep out here.
When we get done, when we get set up, it looks like a little city. We got like all these little turkeys around in our house, and all the people and all the chairs. The one thing that adds to ours, I think, what makes us is the camera and the tripod and another chair for the other guy and stuff like that. So we have. It's
Everything's
not quite
double
so bad
almost.
when you're by yourself.
Okay, so let's do one other thing here. Let's do a bonus round.
Okay.
Say that money's not an object. Well, it is an object because you don't get to go buy everything you want. You get to pick one other thing. So this is what you have.
Okay.
You got a slate call, strutting tom decoy, blind, and your clothes, your bow, and your pack. What you get to choose one other thing that you believe is going to help you kill a turkey the most. What is that item?
I got
I already know
he's
what
doing.
his is. So what's yours?
Well, mine is going to be a lot cheaper version of what he's doing.
Okay.
Money's no object
I
though.
like
So
it.
why
Oh,
do
you
the-
did say money's no object?
For the one item.
Oh.
Well, let's
Okay.
do both because then that way if somebody
Well,
wants.
I have a tip for them that is not, you don't add any money at all. And it's something that is it's going to get exactly what he wants to do. But
So let's hear it.
fishing line. I'm going to carry fishing line with me because now it does depend a little bit. Some of these new tom decoys, they put like little rubber stoppers like on the bottom so they don't spin around. Get rid of the freaking rubber stopper and make sure you put the tom decoy in the ground perfectly up and down. And then I'm tying my fishing line to his head, and I'm going to run it back to the blind. And I know it sounds crazy, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to face that turkey straight away from me or wherever I think the birds are going to be coming from. And I'm going to start calling those birds in. And when they get close and they don't want to come in right away, now you only get one movement out of this. So you got to make sure it, unless you really know how to use your fishing line. But if he starts to get hung up or something like that, he's 30, 40 yards out, and you need him to come in a little bit more, I'm going to simply pull my fishing line, and I'm going to turn that decoy facing me now, and a lot of times, that is what gets him to come in. And it's free, dang near. I'm pretty sure everybody listening to this probably has a little fishing line laying around everywhere.
I'm going to add that one just so that if people want that list.
Yeah.
Okay, fishing. And the other thing that you could do with that we used to do, and I can't remember if we figured that out on accident but we would take, so you take your fishing line around its neck.
This is
you
the
you turn
upgraded
it,
version of fishing line.
and you take it.
wrap it around them?
Well, you wrap around their head so that you can turn it. But the problem with that is
He's
you
saying
got-
you wrap it around the body, and you
then
can get another turn.
You get
out of
another
it.
turn out of it.
yeah. Well, that's not what I was doing.
We've used a stake before.
Is what I would say is we'll take an arrow or we'll take a stake or a stick, and you put the stick in there where you want that stick to be like 10 inches higher, so enough that it's going to hit the body of your decoy, because otherwise you're only going to get one half rotation or however much, and that's all you're going to get as far as movement. What we'd figured out was if you have one stake there, you can kind of do it quick, where it'll bounce off the stake
goes
and it
back.
will spin it back. So that's the poor man's version of adding some movement to your decoy. So what's Dad picking?
And the other thing to that is I'm pretty sure, do not quote me on this, you need to check your regulations, but I don't believe that goes against any of the laws in states where you can't use electronics or
Right.
whatever
Oh,
else to
no.
move your decoy. I believe you could use that in all 50 states, as
Yeah,
long as you can use a decoy.
And I don't know if other manufacturers are making one, but I know Primos on Killer Bee and Bee Mobile, they actually had a loop, a circle on his chest,
Yeah.
and you would tie it to that. That would give you could move him around. But then the other thing that it did, it made his tail was spring loaded, and you could bring the tail down and let it come back up, so you're getting movement that way.
Yep.
So, but so here's what you're hearing from us is introduce movement to your decoys, and it's going to change the way you hunt. I would be going, if it's legal where I'm going, mechanically. I want to go electronically because, man, I can turn him just a little bit and then turn him back, and I can turn him exactly where I want so that I get my shot where I want. And I mean, I'll run his head right to me, so they got to come around in front. And it just, I mean, there's nothing like seeing a turkey at 40 yards and he's thinking, and then you start turning that decoy and he quits thinking and he's now coming, and I keep turning the decoy and he's like, oh, wait a minute, you're turning away from me, not having that. So introducing movement, I think we're all agreeing how we do it. And again, I've that's where these guys learned it. I was doing it the old-fashioned way. There wasn't mechanical ways, and they may make that illegal. It would be okay with me. I mean, just like cell cameras and stuff like that. If we go too far, we go too far.
Well, it already is illegal in some places.
Yeah, some places decoys are even illegal.
Yeah.
Okay.
My other one would be just a normal hen decoy.
You don't get to do.
I did the free freaking version. He said if money doesn't matter, I could do both. So
there's only one item though.
You only get to pick one
fine
item.
then, I'll do my
We're
fishing line.
We're trying to help people who are needing to figure out what do I need to get.
Right.
You
can build
prioritize.
Yeah, you can build on your arsenal as you start developing.
Okay, so now let's take the shotgun hunter.
Much easier.
Much easier.
Much simpler. Well, you need a shotgun. That would be a start.
We got that.
And you need to pattern that shotgun.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many people I know that they go buy the best shotgun. Everybody tells them this is. I remember when the Mossberg 835 came out, and it was baked camo. It was like the first one. It was shorter, it was 28 inches long, as opposed to my Remington 870 with a 30-inch barrel. I've never, to this day, still have never missed a turkey with that shotgun. With the 870, I've never missed one.
You're not. No, you're talking about the wrong shotgun. You're talking about your single shot.
No, I've never missed one with my 870.
That's because you don't use it.
Well, I don't use it anymore. I used to use it a lot. What's that?
What about the 20 gauge?
That's what I'm talking
the 20
about.
gauge has been even better. I mean,
how many has the 870 killed?
20.
That's more than I expected.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean,
you said you've been
Mom
using
and I
your
both
20 gauge forever.
I have been. I just switched because it was. I switched when you guys were born, and I needed something smaller than you guys couldn't hold the 870. But my point is, when the 835 came out, I lived in Arkansas. Comes out, I'm like, oh, I'm a turkey hunter. You know, you got to buy this gun. So I go buy this gun. I freaking missed like 4 or 5 turkeys. I was pissed. And I had patterned it, but I never found I just assumed when I shot it that this is what my pattern was doing. It was kind of to the left. And I was like, okay, I just have to live with it. And you can't do that. You cannot get yourself to aim to the right of a turkey's head. You're putting it on his head. When the heat of the battle's going on and he comes in, you put it on his freaking head and then shoot left of him and he flies off or runs off.
Yeah.
So pattern your shotgun. Make sure the shotgun is good and try different shot. Number 5s in this 20 gauge that you guys are talking about is money.
Well, the thing with that 20 gauge though is not only has anybody ever missed? We've let a lot of people use that gun. Has anybody?
I don't think
missed
so.
With that
No.
gun?
I don't know of anyone.
You gotta be careful because the stock will fall off. But that thing is lethal.
But if there's all kinds of different. Well, I'm probably gonna do a video or two on different types of shotguns to use. But just about everybody that is a hunter, that's probably one of their first guns. So you can use a 12 gauge, you can use a 20 gauge, the 410s are even becoming very popular. Just go get 6-7 different boxes of ammo, and yes, some of them are going to be more expensive than others, especially when they're for turkey loads. But it is worth the first investment to get a couple of them, and you're going to see very clearly which shells you should be shooting and which shot you should be shooting. So if you need to do that, you're probably looking at a number 4 or number 5 is probably your most common.
Yeah, I like mixed loads. Out of my 870, for whatever reason, 4-6 mix. Like 4s will bust some of the brush, and 6s, I got a lot more pellets.
To give you a baseline, because there's anywhere from number 1 to friggin' number 8.5. So 4 to 5 is typically and there's normally a strutting turkey
number
on
1. I never heard of number 1 shot.
It's a thing.
Well, it goes all the way down to triple-aught buck.
Well, I'm referring to the numbers that they're going to walk in and see on a shotgun, on ammunition shelf, and they're going to look, and they're going to be like, holy crap, what freaking shotgun shells am I going to buy? So
okay, but we are supposed to be answering what the shotgun hunter needs. He needs a gun, and he needs the shells.
I know what we missed on the last one. There's a big one.
What?
Broadheads. Because you're yelling at me for telling them about shells, and it's very important. But we can go into that
We're
later.
going to definitely do shot placement, I'm sure. So I feel like that should be part of that discussion.
Oh, that works.
Is that
Because we
okay?
definitely need to
Ooh,
talk
so
about
we're
it.
gonna you guys are gonna be stuck on hold until we come back to the broadheads. That's so much fun.
Well, it will make more sense because it's too much.
Yeah, I
Oh,
agree.
it's
info.
very detailed. But anyhow, so we're going with the shotgun hunter. He needs in exact opposite of the all black guy in a not all black guy, all black hunter that need for hunting
That
out of a
didn't
blind.
change the sentence.
Stop
the
it.
all black clothing that the bow hunter
You
is
meant
wearing.
what I knew. So, all right. So anyhow, what I'm getting at is if you're not going to be climbing in a blind, if I'm shotgun hunting, I'm probably just leaning against a tree. I want 100% camouflage.
This is definitely, in my opinion, the cheaper of the two.
Yeah. So then you're saying we don't need a blind.
Don't need a blind.
But you need to know to sit still.
Oh yeah, sitting
And
still.
covered, and when he says head to toe in camo, he means head to toe in camo. Like you got camo hat, camo face mask, camo gloves, everything.
And something I think that people need to understand too when we're talking about this, that we're talking about the movement. When you get the turkey, let's say, to answer, maybe when you first sit down, you haven't heard a bird or something, or you've heard him, but you know he's 300 yards away, 200 yards away. You're okay for a minute or two. But pretty quickly, you want that shotgun laying on your knee and up against your shoulder because you aren't going to have time to
We'll get into all.
Oh, you guys are taking all the fun out of this.
No, you're
That's
just
the
don't
next
know how to
ones.
focus.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so
what's the next one that we had?
we'd had
all
blinds.
Blind we don't need.
We had strutting tom decoy.
Okay, that's a debatable.
Yep, that becomes debatable when I'm shotgun
On the
hunting.
even needing a decoy.
I think he made the comment yesterday that if you're going to do that, you don't need the decoy. And in my opinion, if I'm looking at it as an amateur, somebody who's trying to learn, I don't think you have a choice on that. You got to have a decoy. Because yes, you can do it without one, but I'm just going off of trying to give them the best success rate for being new, and you need to have the most room for error here.
Yeah.
You're probably going to want a decoy because you're also not going to want to have them come in you do a great job and you call them in and they stop at 40 yards, and now you got to make a 40-yard shot with your shotgun. That's a shot.
Yeah, and I think we've always had a decoy available, so I don't think I've ever even just called one in. And well, I guess that one in Wyoming last year,
We've had a couple.
I was just kind of in them though. I didn't really even call it in. But you could call one in and get a shot. But I think that keeping them somewhat where you want them and making sure that they're somewhere that you can actually shoot is going to be much easier with a decoy.
Well, I can guarantee you if there's a bunch of guys out there that are eastern hunters or southeastern hunters listening right now, they're going, "You damn right you can call them in without a decoy," because they're doing it.
And
That just wasn't a thing, and guys learned how to do it really well. And they'll argue that part of it helps because the bird has to search for you, so he has to come closer.
But that
Well, I
means
would
you need
wonder-
to be more strategic with your calls, though.
Yes,
too.
you gotta. I mean, if you're gonna do that, you got to be better with your calls to not hunt with a decoy.
Well, I would think there'd be two levels of that as well. I think one, I think you can get away with a cheaper decoy.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't need them to
You just
come
need
as
them to
close.
come a little bit.
Yep. And then the other part of that, though, is I think that it sounds like especially those states, you may be better off with no decoy because these birds get so much pressure,
A lot of pressure.
that like as soon as they see a decoy, they're
that-
out.
No, this is just interesting. Now that you just said whatever that last comment was, I wouldn't be surprised if part of the reason that Alabama is so hard to hunt is because of not being able to use the decoys. And the reason I say that is because you have such a high amount of hunters, not a ton of turkeys, meaning the amount of guys that are going out and trying to call turkeys in without a decoy means that the amount of turkeys that are coming in and not getting killed is way higher. So the education is
Oh yeah,
through the roof. They're like freaking genies.
Yeah. Okay.
Would you say that you need to get like a regular, like full-on tom decoy or something? Because I was almost considering that you just get like you could almost do it with a fan. You have a fan with you. Now it's gonna draw their attention to you, but it would probably get them to move towards you.
You're talking about keeping the fan with you?
Yeah,
Like
I'm
have
just
it
saying
sitting
the
at you?
cheapest route that you don't need.
So I just talked about this yesterday when we built a video, two-dimensional. That would be, if you're just using a fan, now that's a two-dimensional decoy. And I'm not a fan of a two-dimensional decoy unless
because
I'm
they
reaping.
can get to the side of it, but they're never going to get to the side of it
if
when
you
you're
can
shooting
move
them.
it. Yeah, absolutely. With the shotgun you're talking about.
Yes, so we're sitting against a tree. Would that be a cheaper option and a valid option to give them success?
Oh, it would be cheaper for sure. I'm trying to think of like sitting against a tree. If you show that fan and then like putting it down, how
I would almost
that's
probably
gonna
keep
go.
it up.
Well, how are you gonna do that the whole time though and shoot?
Attach it to your gun. They make those. I don't know. Maybe that's too much.
Yeah, I think
you
that's a whole different strategy.
You probably want them looking a different way, anyways. As a new hunter,
It's not a necessity, but if I'm going with a decoy, I'm going with the one that works. There's no reason that the strutting tom isn't going to have the same effect when you're shotgun hunting as it does when you're bow hunting. Now, if you have depending on the area you live in, it may not work. I mean, but that's not going to work for the bow hunter with a blind either.
Okay, so we know we're saying a decoy is a necessity as well.
Mm-hmm.
Call.
Yeah, you have to have a call now.
Yeah, and now I'm going heavily on, learn
mouth
how to
call.
blow a diaphragm call, because you are the movement of using your hands outside of a blind, even with all camouflage, is tough.
Here's the only place that I would say that it'd be worth purchasing for a new hunter. If you can at least make a sound out of your mouth call, you're good. You don't need to do this. But if you're still not comfortable with it, get your slate call, whatever, so you can call generally. And then when they come in real close, this is literally the only time I'd tell someone to go buy one, is one of your push-button calls that mounts to your shotgun. Because then you can have your shotgun up and it's on your knee or whatever, you're ready for them. And all you got to do is this right here. And it makes you can do a little bit.
Easton's making the motion that he's pulling his finger toward him, because that's what they're designed. They got a little rope on them.
And you can that would allow you to make some noise without, that's only if you can't use mouth call at all. Like, even if you can make a little bit of a noise.
Well, and the other little thing that you could do here is that slate call, buy one, and I only know of one. Yes, yet we looked up, there is a company making a deal to hold a slate call.
That ain't worth it.
It didn't look like a very good one to me, but anyhow, getting your slate call mounted to your leg, now it is at least only one hand. My slate call's held on my leg by a strap, and I reach down with one hand, and I make one last yelp, 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 lay the stick down, bring my hand back up.
Yeah, I was going to say, in my opinion, if diaphragm, and at this point you have to be able to blow a diaphragm, in my opinion, because once that turkey gets to where he's 100 yards or whatever and he can see your decoy and everything, you're really risky trying to do that. The only thing, I don't know if I would go to the push button call or not. I think I would go with a slate call, like the Freak or something, because that one straps. I know you can strap that one to your leg, and I would already be seated in a position where I could be like hiding my hand behind my leg and keep my gun up, to where I can be really slow and gradual with my movements. But hopefully, too, like once they get to that point, hopefully they're coming and you don't need to keep calling.
And that's where the decoy does come. I mean, if you get one coming to a decoy, there's something to take their focus off of you.
Right.
Because otherwise they will pinpoint where that call is coming from. They know They know the tree where they heard the last time they heard the hen.
Yep. So, okay, so is there anything else that is absolutely mandatory?
There's one thing that is absolutely mandatory for the guy sitting against a tree, camouflage shotgun hunting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something to sit on.
Yep.
Your ass is going to get wet, and you're going to get uncomfortable. It's going to get cold. And so there's two ways of going about that. One, you can buy a turkey vest, so now you're carrying everything, and then a lot of them come with a drop-down seat made specifically for that. Or if you want to be the guy that hunts with a pack, you can just buy one of those little cushions. I've even used a cushion from a tree stand and just hook it on my pack, and then that's what I sit on. But you want something. Yeah, even if you got to take your wife's old coat and roll it up and shove it under your butt, you want something to sit on.
I have used a lot of vests too, and if you are looking at one, if you can find them still, they're still around. I think they only do limited runs of them every once in a while. Is the Will Primos? Will Primos, I want to say Grand Slam is what it's called.
I don't know the names of them.
But it's Will Primos' like signature one. It's like $110 or something, or $100. Yeah, and it is the vest. I've tried lots and lots and lots of different brands of them, and that is the one that I still don't think it's perfect, but
But
it is the best.
Well, but the
that I've
vests are
used.
designed to hold things like your box call where it doesn't make noise, holds a slate call, holds different strikers, place for shotgun shells. It covers everything, truly, and it carries the turkey. I
Yep.
mean, most of them are designed so that you can actually put the turkey in there, and provided you kill one.
Yep.
So optional, I put vest, pack, and blind.
I would agree. And,
Okay.
and the other option, there's other optional things, because one of the big things we haven't talked about, and maybe we'll get into it later on, is I'm a huge fan of my phone with OnX, because I know where the bird, like I'll mark where they're gobbling or where I think they're roosting at, where we're setting up. I can look and see how far away I'm going to have to, like if I do my scouting, like we were talking about, okay, it's 300 yards from where they're at to here. Even if the neighbor's hunting, maybe I know that he's not hunting here, I got a chance. I'm going to set up on that bird and try to pull him over. I mean, do not think like there's a fence there. It's not fair to try to steal a turkey from someone else. They're just running wild. You're sitting on your property making a call. Turkeys are going to come from other neighbors or whatever. You're not now. If I saw someone had a blind set up in between me and the turkeys, yeah, I probably wouldn't do it. Probably go to a different spot. Give them that opportunity. So.
Okay. Well, I think that pretty well concludes it. I mean, because if you're past amateur or beginner, then I think that now it's kind of up to you. You can decide what you want to do.
Yeah, you're gonna get. I tell you, give it a year. I've been having a lot of weirdly not in the season for it, but questions about saddle hunting, and I'm the same way. You have to give it a year for what the stuff is that you're using. And you're going to find this, that, or the other. You're going to want to try something else. And another great tip for you guys, there's plenty of Facebook groups nowadays, too, of like these types of hunting groups where you can go get rid of your stuff. Like if you wanted to swap out a blind or something, you want to try a different blind, you can go sell it on those pretty easily or trade with somebody else that's also looking for something. Right. And you can save a lot of money doing it that way.
But I think this series of podcasts that we're doing really encourages comments and send us questions so that we'll pointedly talk about what you're referring to, because the thing that we pointed out in the YouTube videos we're building and here, we don't know everything. However, I didn't realize how much we've done of this turkey hunting stuff and how many we've covered, like 12 or 15 states. We haven't hunted them all, but we've hunted a lot of them. I think we're at probably 250 to 300 call-ins of some, or maybe more. I've personally killed almost 50 turkeys with my bow alone and killed a lot of others with a shotgun. So we have done this a lot. That's not saying that we're perfect at it, and that's not saying that anything that we're suggesting is going to be, this is the only way you can do it, because it ain't. And you'll find your own style. We're just trying to help you. So
I'd be curious to know what your record is for calling birds in for other people.
Ooh, well, with
That's
Marty,
probably triple what your shots are.
Well, still today, Marty he's never hunted. I think he's 7 times. We've never set up and called, and he has not gotten a shot.
And he's still never killed one, has he?
Oh yeah, he killed one in Nebraska.
Oh, I thought that he still.
Yeah, actually, he's killed 2.
I remember he's launched some arrows at him, hasn't he?
He killed one at Jay Bottom too.
Yeah, it sure. It looked like the coon he was trying to shoot in a tree one time. He went through his whole quiver.
So, all right, is that it? We good?
I think so.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you guys.
I got a wacky fact here.
The truck.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Also,
we got a wacky
Warren
fact.
did good. Warren took notes on this, so we'll try to get this little. Maybe I don't know what the best way to do it is, but we'll try to get this checklist into the comments and stuff for you guys, so you guys can check, and you don't have to be unsaved drivers or have your boss yell at you for writing notes at work.
Should we? YouTube description we can put in there too. Yeah. Because I put all of the items.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future we try to, or maybe we'll have Nick come up with links to them if people want to go and buy it. Because like some of the we have blacked out sweatshirts that you could go get, and we'll have the back and the packs. But some of the other stuff, you're gonna have to go and find, or we can just offer our suggestions.
The blacked out sweatshirts were designed to hunt out of a blind. They're black on black. They're black with black lettering of raised hunting, but they're all black.
Yep.
Works good.
All right, we ready?
Yep.
In 2004, Volvo introduced the YCC concept car, tailored for women drivers, featuring a sealed hood and dent-resistant bumpers.
That is so freaking awesome.
I wonder if we have any female listeners.
Yeah, we do. We've had them write stories in.
Oh yeah,
And we love you too.
Yeah, because that's not very nice.
And our mother is going to get on here at some point or another. She did agree to one. So, you got another one?
Let me see.
That was a good one. That's probably one of your best ones you've given me yet. And you have not been on fire lately. Although you've been getting greens.
I have not been?
No, I thought they've been kind of slow lately.
No, he
Boring.
was like 50-50 last time.
No, I'm
I
saying
think.
he's been doing good on the greens, but I just feel like they haven't been anything that's like, oh, yeah, for a while.
That's because he's not talking about turds.
Yeah, we haven't had a
That
dinosaur
seems to be
turd in a while.
Number one, cubes or dinosaurs or giant guys taking giant turds from the Viking era.
I didn't know where that was going. Oh, that's funny. All right.
Percussive maintenance is a humorous term for the practice of tapping or striking a malfunctioning device to restore its functionality.
What is it called?
Yeah, percussion maintenance.
Percussive maintenance.
I'll have to remember that.
I always call beat the shit out of it.
The funny thing is it works about 50% of the time.
It does work a lot.
Yeah, that's probably the placebo effect thing.
I don't think so.
How? When you smack it and then it
There's
starts to
some
work.
things that you're whacking on there that is like, whatever you hit that, there's nothing it's going to do. But then it works. I don't know. Above my pay grade.
I think that's what makes it work.
Good?
Oh, no.
All right.
All right.
I think, you did not get it. So we made it through this entire podcast with this same damn fly in here that came from the trash man that doesn't pick up the trash. So anyhow, all right, guys, thanks for joining us again. If you guys have questions, shoot them into our comments. If you guys are looking for any raised apparel, raised canine, raised Knox, the scents are coming. We had lots of guys at the Iowa Deer Classic asking us, when are the scents going to be back in? June, we expect to have.
And some new stuff. So
Yeah,
stay
we
tuned.
expect to have full on everything, and we're going to do our damnedest to stay ahead of you guys so that you don't buy us out of stuff.
Yeah.
So we're working on that as best we can. All right, guys, thanks for joining the Raised Hunting Podcast. We will talk to you next week.